I want to start by saying thank you for asking about foreign policy, because you're absolutely right. In fact, President Obama in his interview said something about that. He said, you know, you don't get to pick the issues you work on when you're president. A lot of them come at you. They come in the door whether you open it or not. And he even gave the example of working on his State of the Union, being at the desk in the Oval Office when one of his aides came in and said, the Iranians have just captured 2 of our naval vessels and have taken our sailors prisoner. You can't say, oh, okay, don't bother me now, I'll deal with that later. You've got to immediately be able to switch gears. You've got to do all aspects of the job. When I became Secretary of State, what President Obama and I found was that the Iranians were on their way to a nuclear weapons program. This despite all of the bluster from the George W. Bush, Dick Cheney administration. They'd mastered the nuclear fuel cycle, they had built covert facilities, and they had stocked them with centrifuges that were rapidly whirling along, trying to create enough highly enriched uranium to have a weapon. Now, our choices were, oh my gosh, just fulminate about it, or turn our backs and just figure out that somebody else was going to do something, or try to get up a new strategy. We chose the third. We said, look, we've got to get the world behind us to force them to the negotiating table. So I spent 18 months putting together the coalition that imposed international sanctions on the Iranians. That forced them finally to begin negotiating with us to get an end to their nuclear weapons program, to put a lid on it. It took 18 months to get the sanctions. It took me about another year to travel around the world convincing other countries to actually obey the sanctions. And then I began the negotiations, testing whether the Iranians would actually come and seriously negotiate. And then Secretary Kerry and the President did a great job bringing the agreement into fruition.